Okay, so what we're going to be creating is a color wheel. Now, in this color wheel, there are 3 different levels of colors. There's primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Your primary colors are red, blue, and yellow. Your secondary colors, or which colors you can mix, are violet, orange, and green, okay? Now, what we're going to be doing for this exercise only is you're going to be using the color pencils that are primary and secondaries. Your tertiaries, which are these mixed colors in between, you are going to mix them. Okay, now we're going to start off by, I'm going to show you how green works. So I'm going to rotate that around, and I don't want you to color in the whole way. I want us to practice our gradation. So you're going to start off really dark, and you're going to kind of fade it in. Okay, that's beautiful. Nice and dark, fading on in. Okay, now the blue-green, you might need to mix this a couple of times. Okay, that means layering the color pencils. They don't mix by just coloring one over. You actually have to move the medium around. So I'm going to start off with green and lightly go with it. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to take my blue, all right, and I'm going to go over it, starting dark, going through, making sure that I have a nice even coverage, okay, because if you don't, it just looks like scribbles. Now, that was pretty good, but I'm going to go back with my original color and just make sure I've really moved the color pencils around and gotten a nice color, okay? Because you don't want it to just look like you just colored over it. But by taking that original color and going over it, you're really going to move the pencil. Now, what I'd like you to do is finish up this color wheel, and when you're done, you may go on to the next lesson, or the next exercise. Now, in this exercise, we're going to be working with what's called intensity. The intensity of a color is the brightness or dullness of a color. You can change how bright or dull a color is by actually adding the opposite color. Okay, so for example, the red. I'm gonna reach over here and grab a red. Here we are. Okay, I'm going to start off by just coloring in this red. I'm doing little circles. Now I press pretty, hard. So it's going to be a nice red. Okay, now I want to actually fade this out as it goes toward that green, because the purpose is I want you to see, one, how we can dull down this color, all right, by, adding the opposite. So, and I want to show you how the green can get duller by adding the opposite too. So we're going to kind of mix them. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the red, kind of make them even for these 4, okay? So nice and bright all the way to the center, okay? Not bad. Now I'm going to take the green, okay? I'm going to stay even in all these 3 boxes. Actually, I'm going to do 4 because I'm going to color over the center one. So I'm going to color over this one, color over this one. Okay, and one more for this one. Now the central one, if you have equal amounts of opposite colors, okay, which are also called complementary colors, okay, you're going to get like a muddy color, more like a brown, all right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put equal pressure, like I did with the green, on the red, and you're going to get a brown. Okay, now just like I did in the first exercise, I want you to kind of go over it with the first color just to kind of like mix it in. Sometimes I like to go back and forth with my colors to really mix them in. Okay, now that's equal amounts. I want you to see how this works with the other color. Okay, so I'm going to take my green and I'm going to go on top of this one. And I'm going to go a little lighter, not too hard. Okay, just color that in. Mix it with my red, so you can see how this is making a deeper red. All right, now I'm going to do this with this one. Just go very lightly, very lightly, just to deepen the color, just a hair. Take my original color and kind of go over that. Now, I want to do this with the green, okay? I'm going to take the red and I'm going to go over this, just add a little bit of red, not too much because I don't want it to be brown like my center one, okay? Just a little bit, almost like make it like a, just reminds me of an emerald green, which is kind of nice. And mix it with our original color, kind of nice, okay? Here, a little lighter. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to take that green. And you can see how the reds can get slowly deeper, okay? And that neutralized color, which is a brown. And you can make green. Actually, I'd like to make this one a little bit darker. There we go. That's a nice green. Okay? Now, please complete the rest of this. You're going to take blue, do the same way that we did the top, and the blue to the orange, and I want you to do the yellow and to the violet. One tip about the yellow and the violet, don't add too much purple here because it will turn muddy, okay? A little bit at a time. So value is the lightness or darkness of a color, okay? Now what you're going to be doing is we're going to need black and white for this part of the assignment, okay? And you need some kind of color. So I'm going to go with blue, all right? Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to start off dark. Okay, you can change the intensity of a color by how much you press it, okay? You start nice and dark, blue here, like really dark. This center one is kind of like a normal blue, like if you're just coloring your sketchbook and I didn't have to tell you to press harder, you'd be fine. Okay, so that's like your middle. This is like really pressing hard, okay? And this one at the bottom is going to be very light. All right, so we're going to create that range from there to there. So I'm going to get a little lighter here, a little lighter here. You got that one, okay? Get a little darker here. And one more. Now you see this word hue? Hue is another word for color, actually. So if someone says, that's a really nice red hue that you're wearing, you know, they're just saying it's a nice color. Okay? All right, so that's good. Now, for the white areas, what you're going to be doing is you're going to take in a white colored pencil and you're just going to mix them. My suggestion is kind of do in circles to really mix with that color. Okay? And you can go in different directions to lighten it. I'm going to go back with my blue to add a little bit more coloring. Sometimes I take my colors and I go on in a different direction. It just fills in all those empty spaces. And going back and forth, filling it in, makes it look really nice. All right, that's really nice, actually, really pretty. Okay, same thing with this. This is gonna be a little less white, all right, and a little lesser. So this blue, it's got a little bit more blue in it, so I'm gonna go this way. Here we go. That's nice. And I'm gonna mix this one. A little less white in this one, and then it should kind of just fade in. All right, so what's happening is there's white here, a little less white, a little more blue, a little less white, okay? A lot more blue compared to this one. And then there's almost no, well, there's no white in this one mixed, and it's just the original color. Now, on the opposite side, we want the black to be here. We want to make this like a dark blue. So I'm going to go back on top of this, and I'm going to mix it. Oh, that's really nice. Take my blue, mix this in. I go in a different direction. Okay? And I kind of going to go down, down. So this one's going to get a little less black, lighter black, and the center hue has no black at all. I'm going to quickly go and mix these in, my original color. Now, you're going to do this, choose a different color, okay? Do it one more time so you can kind of get, you know, the hang of it. And you're good for this exercise. All right, the last exercise before you go on to the YouTube video where you're going to start applying some different techniques on how to actually color a sphere, okay, is transition of colors. It's when you go from one color and you fade into the other. So what I would like you to do is choose two colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I'm going to go with blue and green. So I'm going to start with one, okay, and it's just like gradation. So you're going to start off really dark and it's just going to fade out. Very nicely done. Okay, I'm going to take the opposite color and you start over here. And this one's going to fade into the blue. What's going to happen is you're going to have some mixing in the center, which is kind of, you know, it's a good thing. You're going to get a blue-green. Just fades out. All right? You do it just right. You don't have to go back over, but you can definitely go over on an angle to kind of like add some more shading on. And don't be afraid to add more layers on, because adding more layers just gives it a nice kind good warm feeling, and which is kind of nice to hear. It just gives it a lot more layers and more depth. Okay,